We're back. Welcome to Pro League 2016 Day 2, Tasteless and GTR. Bringing you so far a fairly one-sided series with Green Air, Jin Air. We could call them Green Air Gin Wings, I guess, if we really wanted to mess it up. Jin Air Green Wings against MVP Chicken Maru.
Have you ever had Chicken Maru before?
I have not.
We should try it out sometime. It's Sport MVP. But anyway,
that is a chain in Korea.
Yes.
I don't believe I've seen it around. It must not be in the neighborhood that I live in.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just not that perceptive. But,
maybe you're not a chicken enthusiast like I am. But
let me tell you something, friend. I love fried chicken and beer. I have been in Korea long enough. I know how to appreciate that. I get it with the different little sauces. I like the, you know what Sunsal fried chicken is?
Yes, boneless.
Boneless fried chicken.
I actually like it with the bone. I like it with the bone on because I believe the bone keeps the flavor of chicken. So.
Well, you haven't been eating fried chicken as long as me, GTR. The boneless fried chicken is the only way to go. Okay? You can eat the chicken. You don't have to think about, like, oh, how do I even approach how I'm going to bite it? I just look at where the batter is on the fried chicken. I'm like, I can collect the most salt when I dip it in the little plate, or maybe some of that sauce, and I eat it.
Okay, Tasteless.
That's right, GTR. I hope you're taking notes on this, man.
Yes, I'm clearly writing.
I know my fried chicken
is better than bone chicken. But going on to this game right now, Creator against DeParture. This is the first game that we're actually going to see Creator play for Jin Air Green Wings. Remember, he was on Prime before deciding to leave. Now on Jin Air Green Wings has a renewed sense of hope, I guess, and DeParture's no slouch of a Zerg player. I believe he's one of those players that gets really underestimated because he's not that big of a name.
Yeah, I think he's just overshadowed. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I think Creator's not that much of a big name anymore. He's still around, though. If you've been following Starcraft 2 since the beginning, you'll definitely remember him. But this should be our closer match. And look here, we're already having some people voting differently here for DeParture.
Yeah, so number one, that's Daehyun and Kanata going for DeParture. I guess they have a lot of faith in him. Myself, Tasteless, and the Kasache going for Creator here. Seems like the more solid pick, but we've got to see how DeParture approaches his matchup. Yeah,
let's see what happens. I mean, I was pretty on the fence about this one. I'm happy to be proven wrong. All right, we're now going into game number 3 here. It's all up to MVP to turn this around. Over here in the upper right, on the Green Wings, it's Creator. And our Zerg player over here. Fantastic. DeParture, I think, not a lot of pressure. Excuse me, not a lot of pressure on Creator. I almost said not a lot of pressure on DeParture. Excuse me. A lot of pressure on DeParture here. He's going to have to deliver. This is a big map. We are in cross spawns in this case. Zerg generally prefer that. Creator, I feel like one thing about Creator is there was never one aspect of his style that really stuck out to me.
Well, the thing is, Creator has those really solid builds that a lot of fellow Protoss players pick up on. If you remember in Wings of Liberty, Creator popularized that double forge, +1/+1 armor and weapons upgrade. So Creator's a very creative player. He knows what he's doing. And even though he hasn't really taken a GSL or anything like that, if my memory serves me correctly, he still is a pretty good player. And we got to see how he approaches Legacy of the Void, see if he creates any results. And as I mentioned before in the pre-game, joining Jin Air Green Wings, having that strong group of Protoss players to talk about strategy with SOS, Trap. It's going to be really interesting to see how he approaches the new expansion.
Yeah, it's going to be cool. He might be one of the players who's definitely better off. If you give him a bunch of new tools, he's somebody who might be able to engineer something a little bit more quickly than some of the other players. And we saw some of that in Brood War as well, where there were guys that were innovators, and then there were guys that would just master after the innovations had come in. They would just get everything tweaked out perfectly.
As we see here, DeParture going for another third hatchery rather, as the spawning pool will also pop up as well. Nothing crazy from him right now. Creator going for that Adept, Chrono boosting that gateway. He wants to get that Adept out, get it to scout around the base of DeParture once his probe dies, if it does indeed die. And Nexus go downs as well.
You know, with the Adept coming out, what I'm really looking for is what's the next tech going to be? Is he just going to get more gateways? Is he going to get a Stargate? Maybe a robotics facility? There it is, a Stargate.
Yeah, so you're probably going to see that Oracle come out, try and do some harass on the drones of DeParture. As we see 4 Berserklings coming out for DeParture. Wants to get those queens out, wants to get that creep spread. I think it's really pivotal to get really good creep spread on a map as large as this, because in cross spawns, it's really easy to figure out what way you want to expand towards.
Yeah, I mean, in cross spawns, one of the reasons why Zergs love this is that they can basically have the upper left quadrant of the map and those 2 expansions that are sort of shared there in the lower part, by the way. And it's pretty hard for Protoss to push it. I mean, you're going to have Zerg on a ton of bases. However, you know, Protoss doesn't always have to be attacking and pressuring the Zerg. The Protoss can actually sit back and just build up and really get a crazy army size as well. So we'll see what happens. There are strategies for Zerg with Nidus play, for instance, that can throw Protosses off where they try to end the game quite quickly. I don't think we're going to have it here, but you never know. It could be a different timing for that.
As we see these depths shading into that. Oh no, the shade's been cancelled. So he sees what he needs to see, cancels that shade, and I really find this move really interesting is that quick third base from Creator. We'll see if DeParture punishes that if he decides to.
You know, one thing about taking a third base down here is that with the Oracle, it's pretty hard for the Lings to get down there and kill it. You know, he can get a pylon up and pretty much defend. Also note that Zerg is banking Phoenixes as this goes on.
As we see, Spore Crawler's already out here for DeParture. Looks like this Oracle is only going to do a few drone kills, just 2 there, as that Oracle has to go away. And that third base is down for Creator. We see that Mothership Core just hovering over that pylon just in case he needs to cast a pylon overcharge. And the Zerglings just running around the area of Creator.
Robotics facility is now going to come here. Good harass so far. Got to be careful, though. You can't lose that Oracle.
Oh, that Oracle's nearly dead.
Oh, my God. That's really hard to get out of. Okay, good job. Actually manages to save that. You want to be able to tag the army when it's leaving. Continue to scout around, etc., etc.
Yeah, I felt that DeParture in that moment. If he paid attention, he could have killed that Oracle with that Queen that was injecting at the main base, but alas, he did not kill that Oracle. As we see this Zergling group of DeParture just poking out the front of Creator's front base. Doesn't get that much damage though, as his deaths will chase those Zerglings away.
So third base uncontested, and I don't think it would have been wise for Zerg to try to attack into that just yet. But we have seen some Zergs do, timings with Roaches and Ravengers and really bash down that third. Although I would think as time goes on, Protosses should be getting better and better at holding those kinds of attacks. You know, whenever we have an RTS that's been dramatically changed, or if it's brand new, we usually see the rush builds winning the game. But as the game gets on for longer and longer, it's usually the player that defends and plays safer to succeed.
And we see here from Creator actually going with that robotic support bay, which is quite interesting because recently in this matchup we've seen Adept Immortal armies with that template tech once they get that third and fourth base up for that gas to invest into that template tech. But here he's opting for that robotics bay early. We'll see what he wants to get from that. Maybe War Prism speed, maybe even Colossus. We just have to see what he decides to do.
He might even just get Disruptors too. I mean, yeah, I think that's what he's going to do right here. So the Disruptor play, you can't really argue with that, especially if you see Zerg kind of powering up, let's say, with Ravengers and Roaches, especially with the way the StarCraft 2 AI works. I mean, things auto-clump up, and the Disruptor really punishes that. So if you have anybody who's not watching their army, boom, you are in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, we've seen the craziness that is Disruptors in the past. The orbs basically make you pay attention to what you have to do with your army. Basically, you have to pay full attention every time when Disruptors are out, because one orb shot can basically decimate your army, especially when you're playing a Zerg, because Zerg has those low HP units compared to Terran and Protoss at times. And if you get a Disruptor orb in your army as a Zerg, you could lose your bulk of your army, just like that.
Well, also, I mean, roaches are not that nimble, right? I mean, it's not like stalkers that can at least try to blink away. I mean, roaches, I mean, you're going to lose some roaches if they have proper disruptor control.
As we see here, 2 disruptors out already, as this Warp Prism just is sitting here at the bottom left. I thought he'd maybe use that Warp Prism to pick up those disruptors to do some harassment, but nice revelation there. And I really like this observer placement as well, because it doesn't seem that DeParture has an overseer on the map yet. He hasn't got a Spore Crawler that is near that observer, and looks like he's going to be able to see the rally point of DeParture and see what units he's building from that.
So the Warp Prism is going to come up now. He's going to try to do some damage over here. You got to be careful of your Zerg, because this is, you know, because the map's so big, he can actually get really far away from his home base and not be able to defend. And I like the fact that it's 3 here. You know, we saw that there were some changes in the damage here for the disruptor, but this is enough where he can still kill off workers very, very quickly.
As we see, 4 drones actually being killed already from Creator. Oh, nice hot pick up there from Creator. 2 of those adepts taking a bit of damage, and we see some lurkers actually, so we could see a contain from DeParture onto Creator.
Yeah, maybe even a push. We'll have to see. Protoss hasn't gotten to that part of the game where they have all the tech that they need, but he does have Phoenixes back here. If there's not enough anti-air, and there's some Hydras here, but I mean, if he lost that clump, for instance, due to, like, for instance, a disruptor, then he could end up losing a lot of his army to just the Phoenixes with the follow-up.
Yeah, I really like this move here of going for those Phoenixes. And nice stasis ward there, trapping those Zerglings. Looks like those Zerglings will be stuck for a while, as Archer's actually thinking about attacking, and oh no, he just borrows some lurkers. And these,
I love it. Nicely done. Setting the disruptor out again. Oh, really punishing these lurkers. I love it. Creator really showing us how to approach lurkers so far. But as this game continues on, I mean, right now our Zerg player has actually disconnected the 2 bases here. Third, unable to get access to the second. This is going to be a little bit of a tough time here for Creator.
Yeah, really nice positioning here. Oh, Disruptor Shot gets a few Hydralisks, but these Phoenixes that Creator was banking on, they're not doing that much at all. I haven't seen him lift anything up as these lurkers actually go to the mineral line. He should be attacking those mineral probes, but there we go.
Yeah, now he's using those probes. He needs to get some detection over here. There's the observer. He needs to get that over there like most ASAPly. And he's going to come down here as well. Nice, picking up both of the lurkers. Meanwhile, the War Prism's coming down here. Disruptors with good connections. He continues to push out. Adept sitting from behind him, blinking with the Stalkers. This Zerg army is getting wrecked.
Yeah, so it looks like DeParture has to fall back here. Or not even fall back, his army basically got obliterated, but he's got that 4th base quite secure, and he's taking that 5th base as well on that left side. So, Mulus switch as well, but there's a lot of Phoenixes out for Creator.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny because he does the Muta switch, but it's not like Creator didn't already have an answer to this. With Phoenixes coming out, he might have some very bad engagements.
I mean, if I check the unit tab right now, it's actually 24 Mutalisks out for DeParture, and that's that critical mass at this point.
That actually is a good point. I didn't see the sheer number of mutas here, and when he's got this many, I mean, the small number of Phoenixes might not be enough. And he's actually outpowering these pylons. I love it.
Oh my god, this is going to be a really hard spot for Creator to come back from. These are so many mutas out here for DeParture. And these are Zerglings trying to distract the army. And if this Storm tech goes down, that means he can't get any Archons as well as Templar tech. So it looks really tough for Creator at this current moment.
Yeah, Creator definitely on his back foot. And I mean, with his army out here, there's really no defense here for the air. He needs to get back up quickly, or he's going to lose even more. The Mutas now coming up here. Going to go for the Disruptors. That's another huge play as well. Yeah,
these Mutalisks are doing a lot of damage. And those Phoenixes are gone from Creator. There's no Templar tech as well. Only 5 Phoenixes here, but these Stalkers and Phoenixes, I don't think it's enough to clean up this Mutalisk clump.
He's got decent control here with the Phoenixes, but yeah, I mean, it's the sheer number that's actually the terrifying part. You can see the Mutas now coming back here and just hitting these Stalkers whenever they're isolated.
Oh, I love these Zergling run-bys as well, dumping that excess minerals that he invested. That gas onto these Mutalisks, but really nice micro here from Creator, and DeParture's not, he's looking to try and fight this face on, but I think he should just take out this 3rd base and then just fall back because he's got that lead right now.
I think DeParture is actually about, there we go. I was going to say about to win this game. Nicely done.
Yeah, really nice transition there. We didn't see that on our screens actually until it was those.
Yeah, it was funny.
Out.
We saw those mutas, and at first we were like, okay, well, he's got some mutas, but then we looked at the unit tab, and I'm like, oh, okay, 24 mutas. That's definitely enough to do the job. And you know what, man? That means that he's still in this. MVP can still do it.
MVP still in this, and our next match is going to be Cure against Forte, aka Salvation. He's one of those other players that change his ID, so trying to get used to that here at the Pro League 2016. But talking about that previous game, Creator going against the grain, going for disruptors early against that Lurker Tech. It was nice to defend, but he didn't really feel that he could use those disruptors offensively, and as a result, DeParture kind of choked Creator into between his second and third base and did enough damage that he could transition to Mulus quite efficiently, and as a result, take that game.
Really cool stuff. Okay, I'm glad that wasn't a 3-0. I thought it might be, especially with the way Creator was handling that initial attack, but with that mute attack, really goes to show you why Zerg didn't have anything to reinforce. And that's, even though, you know, it's a new unit composition since Lurkers are new here in StarCraft 2, it's the same idea. He gets that strong unit composition, and even if he's starting to lose that, he's forced Protoss into making a certain type of army to combat, for instance, in this case, those Lurkers, those Hydras. But to switch into mutas like that, all of a sudden Protoss is blindsided. He doesn't have that right unit comp at all, and that's when he gets run over.
I was really surprised actually how many mutas he was able to get from that transition, because I guess what DeParture did was he banked a lot of minerals onto the Zerglings and used all the gas that he invested. He had a lot of bases, you have to think about that. He had his fourth base quite well run, and also taken that fifth base at the top as well. And I guess he banked enough gas that he could transition to Mulus, and he was confident enough that he'd have enough Mulus to deflect from those Phoenixes that Creator was banking up as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty smart, but once he just lost those, I mean, that's when Protoss started to go out, and I think, was Zerg on 5 bases, right? I mean, 5 bases, mining gas, and especially for Zerg at that phase of the game, they are always mining a ton of gas.